Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion. Plays Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. Deftly navigated the relatively untreacherous waters, but this could be a funky one. Apollyon, we're lucky we got just a little bit of extra momentum necessary to dodge the Keeper, but I'm up for it. Who S OC43, I really wanna... Okay, what a very good dodge. Then I walked into the fire like a moron. This is a bit of a dangerous fight here early on, as I'm sure I probably don't need to tell you. Having a lot of trouble landing shots. Luckily, it's a relatively non-tanky enemy. We did not get 9 lives. I was very eager and interested in the prospect of getting 9 lives. Oh well. What can we do at the end of the day? Nothing. Okay. We're officially in the dangerous hour here with 1 HP. We never should have been hit on the, well, we never should have walked into the red poop, basically, on that Ultra Lust fight. But now we gotta deal with the consequences. Why'd you have to make everything so consequential? I changed the word so it's legally distinct from the song that made it. Okay. Look, Avril Lavigne is from the next town over. If I can't infringe on her copyright with a fair use, arguable parody version, then what has society become? And what am I paying my friggin' taxes for? Isn't that how it works? I've seen some very entitled comments on the Vancouver subreddit. It seems like some people believe that the amount of tax you pay indicates... Dude, we want to reroll that. We're in a little bit of dire straits. I don't want raw stats. I'd rather get a good passive for now. Varicose veins is interesting. Well, hold on. Can't get that, huh? I'll put 1 penny in here, and otherwise I'll suck it up. I'm still gonna suck it up. We got speed. Yuck. I remember I saw a comment on the Vancouver subreddit. And it always, everything on the Vancouver subreddit is a PSA. Because it's smug, right? And I'm okay with that. Those are my people. So I remember it was like 3 years ago. There was a PSA that said, PSA, the far left lane on Highway 1 is the HOV lane for high occupancy vehicles. You're not allowed to take it unless you have at least 2 people in your car. And then one guy posted a comment and was like, I take the HOV lane whenever I want, even when I'm driving by myself. Why? 2 reasons. It's faster, and I pay $30,000 a year in tax. And everybody was like, dude, first off, congratulations. Means you have a good job. Not a great, you know, you're not on the, you know, the Vancouver Canucks or anything like that, but you're doing well for yourself. But secondarily, 30 grand is not enough for the rules not apply to you. You at least have to be in, like, multi-millionaire territory for that, okay? 30 grand is like, you're doing your part. I'm not trying to shame you for the amount of tax you pay. But it's definitely not an amount of tax where you get to break whatever rules you want to break, okay? That's only once you get into that Jeff Bezos territory. Then you... And I'm not saying he does it... I'm just saying, you know, once you get up to that level, once you get up to, hey, I made a, you know, 6-figure political contribution to the party that ended up winning the election, then all of a sudden you get a DUI and somebody makes it go away and everybody goes, that's just the way it is, doobie-doo, 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 things will never be the same. But 30 grand, man. I mean, I'm not in control of this, you know, department. This is, I mean, he did mention, he's like, most of the time I get away with it. Sometimes I get fined, but I'm happy to pay the fines. That doesn't bother me. You know, if you, and I mean, it does make you kind of a scumbag, but if you're okay with, like, you know, breaking a smoking bylaw, and knowing, or, you know, not paying for parking is another one, and knowing that, you know, you're very likely gonna get away with it, but maybe one time out of 10 you're gonna get like a $150 fine or something like that. Okay, it's just the smugness of well, I pay a decent amount of tax on an annual basis, and that means the rules don't apply to me. You haven't learned yet. That means the rules apply double to you. What do I mean by that? I don't know. I didn't think about it. I just thought it was provocative. It'll get the people going. Magic mush. No deal with the devil, but magic mush. It's very nice. I don't think we've seen our item room yet. I mean, this run is very good. It sucks we didn't get the deal with the devil, but, you know, it's just one mistake can lead to that, I suppose. And I was going to say, I thought that was our shop. Where am I going with this? I don't know. I don't have a good place to pivot off of that. All I'll say is that it's, you know, it's tax season again. There's always going to be tax-related bits. As someone who's self-employed, I find it hard to explain to people who are not self-employed. The tax season is very stressful. I'm trying to... Every year, I am 10 times more stressed for tax than I am about any exam I have ever taken in my entire life. And there's good reason for that. I want to say, by the way, most of this anxiety, and, you know, I've talked it out multiple times. Oh, that's a reroll waiting to happen. Please. Most of this anxiety is irrational. You know, I pay personal tax every few months. I pay business tax every month. Every month, I should say. So, you know, I'm on top of it. But simultaneously, it's kind of like what I can equate it to. I think this is actually worth sucking up, by the way, even though it's only half as good. Sucking up Book of Shadows outside the item room. It's kind of like having your performance review at a company. And, you know, it's not that you haven't been working hard. It's just that maybe every year the review is conducted by a different person. Some of those people... I'm not going to say not as good at the evaluation process. I'm just going to say every year, you know, they like to throw it. They're like, hey, you've done a great job. Everything's copacetic, but simultaneously run this obstacle course for us. And then I go, I don't really want to run the obstacle course. And they're like, well, you have to run the obstacle course. And then I run the obstacle course, and they're like, you know what? We checked the file. You don't really need to run the obstacle course. That's our bad. And I'm like, but I already ran the obstacle course. And they're like... yeah, that's cool. We'll give you credit for that next year. It's not a good metaphor. But it's, you know, you mind on your money and your money on your mind. I remember what it was like. And by the way, this is the worst part of the job. And it's still not that bad. But I remember what it was like in the old days. You know? Between the ages of like 18 and 21... you still file income tax, but it was like $70, and all the money had already come out of your paycheck. And then you basically just, you know, you go meet your accountant for 10 seconds, and he goes like, did you take the bus this year? And you're like, yeah. And he's like, do you have a receipt? And you're like, yeah. And he's like, all right. You just saved $25. Now there's all these acronyms and credits and debits, and, you know, it is braggadocious in a way, because it's a problem that happens, you know, when you start to be successful, I suppose. But it is stressful as well. It's on my mind, I can't deny it. Also on my mind is the existence of the D infinity, which I am going to not suck up, because that's very dangerous. I will take daddy long legs, though. We should get a deal with the devil here. I know you're like, well, it's 100% chance you're going to get a deal with the devil here. Well, it is, I think. Because sometimes on these thin rooms, there's no deal with the devil access. And I'm deliberately pivoting off of the tax bit. I don't want to bore you. Especially, you know, it's like the #1 thing that people complain about, probably in their 30s, 40s, and onwards. I mostly support where it goes. It's just the process of doing it is painful every year. Not even because of the money, man, because of the forms. I accept, you know, paying your bit, you know? It's just the forms. Every year. It's forms this, forms that. I understand the value of bureaucracy. And I don't understand the value of bureaucracy, but I will say that I do, because surely if there was a reason, if there weren't a reason for it, it would have stopped existing. But it's forms upon forms upon forms upon forms. Did you sign this form? You signed the wrong part of this form. Please initial here where it says that we now own your soul, etc., etc. I'm not a form sort of guy. I've been down this road before, but it happens all the time in sponsored deals. You know, sometimes the company will be like, hey, when can you do the stream? And I'm like, tomorrow. And they're like, when can you have this NDA back to us? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. That's, geez, months and months from now, maybe? When is the maximum time that you will still accept it? It's a bad habit. I'm not a form sort of guy. Bless you. She laughed. I'm in, boys. I think she likes me. No response. I got hit! How dare you? Well, we definitely want our HP back. Bless you. No. Oh, stop stepping on. No, you're gonna lose. You've already lost your deal with the devil opportunity, you dummy. What are you thinking here on this tiny room? That was really bad. Let's go back and get some HP. That went wrong extremely quickly. I'm worried. We have one bomb, so any of the hearts, I was just gonna say, should be accessible. Definitely snag this one. We royally screwed this one up, for sure. And it's still extremely good, which is just an indication of how lucky we are, I suppose. Please stop teleporting me. I would like to go to the shop and see if there's anything available for purchase. I don't think 2 trinkets are that valuable. I am very tempted to purchase a spirit heart, and I am going to do so, so let's do that immediately now that we've sussed that out a little bit. I don't think Jar of Flies is that meaningful for us with the Void. I'd rather buy something useful or something that we could suck up, and you know, there's options. That's something useful. Alright, no complaints there. You know, apart from that, we're in kind of the doldrums of January. We're always spoiled, you know. November, December is like the childhood of a year, if that makes sense. It doesn't make sense because they're the final months of the year, but just hear me out on the metaphor here. You know, you got less school, you got less work, unless you work as a mall Santa, or in any other job that has more seasonal work in December, I suppose, like a Christmas tree cutter. They exist, okay? Those are just the 2 that popped into my head right off the bat. I wasn't trying to be insulting. Yeah, let's pop it. It's also, you know, there's other peak seasons for movies and to a slightly lesser extent video games, but that's the way the industry's always been, you know. Peak video game season. I was hoping for a little better there. Peak video game season, October, November, December. Maybe a little antiquated, but you know, that's when people are buying Christmas presents. That's when those games have a tendency to come out. Come on, we tried. It's alright. Good money for the shop. Same with movies, you know, around the Christmas season, big movies tend to come out. Not only big movies, but historically, pretty good movies as well, right? You know, you get those Oscar contenders making it the wide release. Then what happens in January? You know, January, there's probably been bigger releases than I can remember. But I remember when Portal 2 came out, that was like 2012, people were like, this is awesome. But does Valve know it's January? Why are you putting out this, like, you know, puzzle masterpiece in January? January's not when you put out Portal 2. It's when you put out Ride the Hell Retribution. It's when you put out the new Homefront games. You're putting out your marquee title here. What up with that? We got our HP back at least, but we're very close to squandering our deal with the devil for like the 15th time. with a run that's still, like, super good, by the way. Come on, work with me here. So we know our boss fight is right around the corner here. So the Doldrums of January, you know, it really comes at you hard, is all I'm saying, okay? I gotta work a little harder for anecdotes. I got the gym anecdotes. Grocery store has been a little bit bereft of anecdotes lately. And then on top of that, when it comes to media, what are we dealing with? Ain't no media in January. Dude, I'm not watching The Punisher Season 2 on Netflix. I will say, I watched the first half of a documentary on Netflix last night. This is going to be a very prickly discussion topic. I expected to get hit there, by the way. That doesn't make it better, but I did expect to get hit there. Against Ragman with no protection. And I'm happy with our damage, but very, very weird run so far with no deals with the devil this early. The documentary I had watched on Netflix was called Abducted in Plain Sight. I'm gonna spoil it for you, okay? And I want to make it clear. This is a documentary that features real human beings. I'm not bringing this up to mock them, because it's a kidnapping case. If you've seen this, by the way, you're like, I know where he's going with this. Yes, you do, because you can't not, based on the way this documentary went down. I'm gonna spoil it. You can watch it for yourself, but at some point, you just reach a level of like, oh, honey, that I had to turn the thing off, okay? So I'll run it by you. It was the 1970s. You know, picturesque, let me just grab this card real quick and see where we're at. I like it. Picturesque, American family living in Idaho. 3 daughters. They make a new friend at their church, you know? Everybody's like, you know, he's got a wife and 3 kids himself. Everybody thinks he's like a nice guy. Then one day, you know, he abducts. Shouldn't have stepped on that. He abducts their oldest daughter. And, you know, I'm not going to belabor the point. Obviously a terrible thing to do. As the investigation proceeds, we found out that, I mean, the dude is a monster. There's no question about that, okay? They did get the daughter back. I think I want to get a charge, if possible, real quick. This is a tricky floor, mostly because of my own idiocy, but there's some stuff to be done here. They get the daughter back, and then the investigation unveils such a tangled web. So check this out. The guy who abducted the daughter was also, after they got the daughter back, started an affair with the mother of the abducted daughter. And even still, okay, so like this woman has had a complicated life. In the interview, she's like, it was an exciting time in my life. I said, are those really the words you want to use in a documentary that might be seen by hundreds of thousands of people, where you're describing the affair that you had on your husband of, like, you know, 12 years with the person who kidnapped your daughter? So you're like, wow, that's pretty wild, Al. Yo, but also, he had a sexual experience with the father as well. He was seducing the father and the mother simultaneously. Now, the father, I believe, to be fair, it was before the abduction. But still, this guy was like, yeah, you just have to, at some point, be like, I'm not blaming the parents in this situation, but I am like, yo, were you guys born like yesterday? It's a crazy documentary. I really like recommend seeing it, just because you're gonna think I'm creating a narrative that doesn't make sense. You're gonna be like, that doesn't make sense. Why would the mother of a kidnapped child start an affair with the kidnapper? I don't have a good answer for you. Except to say that is exactly what happens over the course of the documentary. It's a work of non-fiction, but I guess sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. There is other stuff that happens that is close to being on that level of like, really? But I'm not gonna spoil that for you. It's a tragic story. I mean, everybody is alive, but simultaneously, you know, like, obviously, it's an a kidnapping story to begin with, so there's a lot of tragedy involved and a lot of stress and a lot of trauma. But there's also a pretty big element of, like, you know, it really seems like these parents were kind of dropped on the earth the day before the kidnapping took place. It's like you both got seduced by the kidnapper? What are the odds, man? Anyway, I'm not trying to play it up for comedic effect. I was actually just stunned. So we got our deal with the devil there, in case you didn't see it. I don't want what's on the deal with the devil. But at least we've seen it now, so we can get deals with the angel. And I think that's fine. I think that's A-okay. I'm not going to get into any of the pricklier stuff from the documentary. But in terms of, like, you know, if you watch the Fire Festival documentary, and you were like, whoa, this is wild. You ain't seen nothing. This'll blow your mind wide open, man. Fire Festival documentary, also, for sure, very, very interesting. I wouldn't deny that. I understand, by the way, that the Netflix Fire Festival documentary was made by, sure, why not? The social media company. What happened to my Emperor card? Where did it go? There it is. That, it was made by, in part, one of the social media companies that was contracted to work on the Fire Festival. All that being said, I still think the documentary does a really good job of exposing everybody involved as being, at the very least, incompetent. And at worst, and this is a number of people that are described in the documentary, overtly malicious and basically predatory, but I would recommend both of those. I had to turn off Abducted in Plain Sight halfway through, just because it got too, I wouldn't say unbelievable, but it was just to the point where it's like, these two people, they seem so very nice, but also so very, very stupid. I'm sorry, okay? And in the documentary, they're describing some horrific stuff, and they're crying about it, and they're like, this is the worst period of my life. And I'm like, yeah. I know, but like, you were also seduced by the person who admitted to basically kidnapping your child? I just don't know. Like, at some point, I don't want to victim blame. But there's an FBI investigator that's like, these were very nice people. But I told them, like, once I got their daughter back, hey, don't have any contact with this guy again. And he basically stopped short of saying, these morons, you know, they just couldn't stay away. He was my favorite, I want to say character, but he's a real person. He's like, he raised a very good point. He was like, dude, I moved to, like, Idaho for this case. I moved away from my own family to get your family back, and then you're letting this guy go like, oops, here I go kidnapping again. Anyway. So I get it. It's a bit of a prickly conversation for sure. I don't mean to make fun of these real people, especially people that, you know, were victims of a crime. By the way, twice. But, you know, that's a story for another day, I guess. But come on. I don't want to mine it too much for humor. But while I was watching, I was like, this is ridiculous. Anyway. You're going to think, and I recognize this, there are times when I can come across as mean-spirited. I want it to be clear. This is not a time where I want to come across as mean-spirited. I have a great amount of empathy for these people. Believe it or not. A lot of that empathy is related to the fact that they need someone to tell them, hey, that dude that abducted your daughter, don't let him come around the house anymore. Anyway, before you judge me, watch the documentary, okay? And if you can hear some of these revelations without rolling your eyes, and if you can still, you'd be like, you know, hey, they did what anybody would have done in that situation, you know? Then sure, maybe I'm the bad guy. But don't judge me until you see the freaking show. I get it's tempting, okay? Big time Twitch streamer complains about taxes that go to help the less fortunate, and then also victim blames parents who had their daughter abducted. That's not a good look of a headline. You're going to have to read the whole article, and you're going to have to watch the documentary yourself. And then you'll be like, okay, he could have been a little bit more of a velvet glove about it, but the man was not wrong. Thank you for the secret room access. I am greatly appreciative. So we're gonna... this run has been probably the worst example of my own Isaac play in a long, long time. I'm not afraid to tell you, we are playing like absolute garbage, and the writing is on the wall. We're gonna win. We are. You know, mostly due to Blank Card Emperor. We haven't even really used Void properly. We've taken a lot of terrible damage at the least opportune times. We've squandered almost all of our deals with the devil, or deal with the devil opportunities, I should say. It's just, I mean, this is your... Were it not for the fact that the items that we got are fantastic, this would be like at kind of train wreck levels. But thankfully, we've been saved. Undeservedly so, I might add. Not only have we been saved, but it's also been, like, really fast. Like, realistically, this whole run is definitely going to be done before the half-hour mark. So, I don't know, man. I feel you. All I can say is that sometimes in Isaac, as in life, you know, mediocrity is not punished and excellence is not always rewarded. Let's see what we got going on in here. Yo, it's extremely good. To make it up to you, I will see if we can get the Mega Satan fight going on here. Should be pretty easy, to be honest. And if we died on Mega Satan, that would be highly appropriate. But with 26 damage until we get hit and 13.5 damage after that, I'm not too worried about it. But this is like... We've been saved. We've been given like a full ride scholarship to Hamburger University here. Excuse me, why do we not... Oh, because we don't have full HP. That's why we only have 13 damage here. So it might be worth fishing for a red heart. It's also, it sounds wild, but it might be / definitely is worth dropping the Emperor card. And then instead of having an Emperor teleportation, we have, I almost had a very, very blurtation of my own right there, but instead of having an Emperor teleportation, we have a Book of Shadows, which has been, I was going to say underutilized, but let's be honest, not at all utilized. Oh, ever since we picked up the card. The card's been real nice, don't get me wrong, but... And it's possibly... I would even go so far as to say it might have enabled our victory. But... So we want to get a charge regardless. So that we can use Book of Shadows. And whatever else we have sucked up that I've forgotten about. We also want to pick up a red heart. And the sun is a... Screw it. Hey! I'm playing so bad, y'all. What do you got in here? Reroll me, Dad. I'm ready. I deserve this. What have I done? I don't know. Where are we on this run? In a substantially worse position, no question about that. But I think we should still be able to swing an AWAS here. I threw it all away. You know why? I don't know. This run's all sorts of jacked up. I've done it to myself. I felt at that point we needed some self-flagellation. Now, I do want to fight Mega Satan, but I also, you know, in the interest of, again, continuing our self-flagellation, I'm going to Emperor card first. And this does two things. I mean, this is great. Maybe our run's not as bad as I thought. Just all the good stuff is hidden. This does two things. It gives us an easy out if we come close to death on the route back to Mega Satan. And it also forces us to go through the entire floor. Wow. Which, with 2 luck, runs the chance to give us some good luck upgrades. I'm going to level with you. I actually don't want to fight Mega Satan on this run. I know I've talked about self-punishment, but I would never wish a loss upon anybody here. And our newfound run, particularly the fact that it has 10 rate of fire, is truly garbage. So I'll give it a little window, but I'm worried. Like, I'm worried what happens if we walk into a double gate room. We basically got hit 6 times here, once you factor in the infamies that are continuing to save me to this day. We're also out of bombs. So, like, I'm not in the business of making enemies here. Let's just see what we got going on. Like, whenever we start with something like Death's Touch, I go, oh, the run's not great, but it's pretty okay. And when we start with other things, I mean, Firemind is also sadly pretty useful. But when we have other things, it looks like trash. Dude, I think we're out of here. Unless, like, give me a D100, then we'll see. Cause it's the D100, check it and see. Reroll your run times infinity. Until you happen to get breakfast. Cause it's D100, D100. So this is the room that, like, I was watching out for. And I'm actually, like, still a little nervous about it. Very happy with Placenta there. Cause it's Placenta, check it and see. Nutrient medium for the baby. Can someone explain to me how I got hit there, by the way? I believe I was hit in mid-air by an aerial enemy. I didn't think you could get me. I thought we were in DVD Screensaver town. Okay, please focus. I don't even want to talk about the reroll luck we've had recently, by the way. This is not the... This run is not going south because of that reroll luck, but it's not helping. You know, sometimes you just gotta say, you deserve it. I played really badly here. At the end of the day, it all came down to, could we dodge that rock? And I said to myself, what are the odds it hits me? It's gotta be like 1 in 8. This is a very disappointing run. I'm not afraid to say it. For now, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, though, and I'll see you next time. See ya.